Welcome to Grit and Gravitas with Ann and Annie, bringing you savvy, spirited stories of success. We're excited to deliver 30 minutes of inspiration, impact, and goodness. We'll be bringing you guests and friends from around the country who have very special work and personal journeys. I'm Ann Dieter Gallagher, your co-host with Annie Carnathan, and this is Grit and Gravitas. Let's go! Back in our favorite spot, Annie Carnathan. Grit and Gravitas, Season 3, episode... I'm losing track. That's a good thing.
That's a really good thing. Back and better than ever. In our happy place.
We're excited today to have Christine Smith. I'm going to say a longtime friend. We've known each other through a couple different positions and as women in business. Welcome to the Grit and Gravitas podcast studio, Christine.
It does feel like I've known you forever.
I know. We're going to say that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
And Annie, you've got a cool connection with Christine as well.
So honestly, our guests walk in the door and it's instant karma.
And it's the show before the show.
It's the spirit, and it's just like you have just the right mission, right? But it's all of you taking the time to sort of sit down, and we barely tell you anything except be your wonderful self, right? So Christine is, and I'm going to let her granularly tell it, but is a key cog and the linchpin, one of the linchpins at Planet Fitness. Mm-hmm. Specifically, Christine will go into how. And so Universal began a whole brand new division, Universal Sports and Entertainment, built out by Nick Mickley, who left a 17-year, very, very successful career at iHeart, which takes courage, stamina, a leap of faith. And I said to him, Nick, you're just going to need people to believe in you one person at a time. We're in the right spot, the right place, the right time, building out this brand new division. And that's my connection to Christine.
And Christine, you are Chief Marketing Officer. We love a good CMO in the seat here. We speak marketing. We live in marketing.
Yes,
we do. Of National Fitness Partners, I guess, is the mothership, correct?
Correct. That is our... that is the operating group that I work for. And we are the third largest operating group inside the Planet Fitness system. Great. So we currently, as of yesterday, have 122 clubs.
Wow.
In 10 states.
That's incredible.
10 different DMAs. I'm allowed to use that word here because you guys understand that.
Designated market area.
Yeah. And then, but by the end of this year, we will be at about 142. We have a couple clubs that are under construction and will open before the end of the year. And we're in the middle of some M&A work right now. So we'll acquire some clubs. Yeah. So we'll be in 13 states by the end of the year. Wow. So, yes.
That's exciting. It's exciting for Central PA, to have you have the outgrowth here. Your corporate office is very near here. Mm-hmm. We're excited to see that. And fun fact, my oldest son grew up with Franz, who is your COO.
He is now officially our chief of staff.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Good.
Yes.
So yes, I've seen Franz grow up. So. Yes. So we want to learn a little bit about your journey. As a female executive now. How did your career take the turns that it did? Did you aspire to an executive position like this in your younger career, your early days? And then we want to talk a little bit about health, because this is the last day in National Women Small Business Month, Women-Owned Small Business Month. So we're recording this on October 31, and health is so critical to women overall, but women in business as we try to juggle professional responsibilities, family responsibilities. Oftentimes our own personal health and fitness gets shoved to the side. So tell us, Christine, a little bit about your journey.
Yeah. Well, my journey started, I knew marketing communications was my thing. That's what I went to school for. I didn't have any aspirations, although I do have to admit when I was in college, I was a communications major. So I did my tour as a I did Weather Girl for a while. So
Awesome.
I'll never forget. I got the call when I was interning at a CBS affiliate while I was in college that said, such and such is not going to be able to do her slot
Weather
today.
segment?
Yeah. Can you come do it? And I had been interning, and I said, you know what? I have to, I was in college. I was like, I have to find a dress to put on. So went in and did my thing. Learned
But you
very
said
quickly.
yes. That's
I
important.
did
You
said
need to
yes.
say yes.
You know,
exactly.
First
I think
business
you have to
vitamin.
say yes.
When the opportunity came, instead of
Absolutely.
saying, I have no dress, you said, I need a
I'm
dress.
not
I need a
ready.
dress.
I don't know about this. My fear will overtake me.
I was
Say
just going
yes.
to say,
Which
it's
are
all
all
about
legit.
coming out of your comfort
Yes.
zone.
Yes.
Yes.
Because guess what? If we don't say yes, we're never going to have the opportunity
Yep.
to grow.
Great.
So,
Great.
I mean, absolutely.
Business vitamin.
So, came out of school, went right into my first marketing job. It was very typical, you're very entry level. Not too long after, maybe 18 months after, I got an opportunity to work for what is now, I believe at that time, they were Crown American Realty Trust, which, if you know that name, you know that they owned shopping centers, and they owned a lot of them. They were based out of Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Went to work for them and ended up handling all the marketing, all the communications, all the advertising
Wow.
for a number of malls in this area. At that time, it was Carlisle Plaza Mall.
Yeah.
We had the Chambersburg Mall, the Capital City Mall. So that was kind of my real first experience where I had to go in and own everything. It was all on me. So I went in, and at that time, there was no budget for agencies
Right.
or media buying
Right.
firms. And I had to do it. I had to do it on my own. And I
Yeah.
had never done a lot of this. I had never bought radio. I
Right.
had never bought television. And it was just dig in, figure out how to do
figure
it,
it out.
how to get it done. So I did that for a couple years. And then I kind of went from what I consider local regional to a national business. I went to work for what was at the time Sprint United Telephone.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
So that was kind of, I went from being in the mall and being casual and working with merchants to all of a sudden being in charge of, a lot of customers
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah.
That was all before deregulation. And
Yeah.
it was also my first experience getting to work with, I had a nice budget and a nice agency to work with. So
That's nice. You have tools and resources.
so
right?
I got to put those. I mean, I worked, for the, dropping names. JWT was my first.
J. Walter Thompson.
Yeah, was
Yep.
my first agency that I got to work with. So I did that for a number of years. At the time, I graduated from college in August of 19 blank blank. Actually, I graduated in May. I got married the same year, 3 months after
wow.
So I was very young, my husband and I, we were, we got out of school, we went right out, got our own place and bought a house within the first 9 months
Wow.
of when we were, coming out of school. We were high school sweethearts,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a new thing for
Yeah.
us. So, but then a couple years into it, baby number one came along. And as you know, that changes
Yeah, it
things a
does.
little bit.
Yeah, it
It puts, how am I going to do this?
Right.
How am I going to figure out how to have kids and still be this professional or
Right.
climbing that corporate ladder? And then I did that while I was pregnant. And then I had my first son. And then 14 months later, number two came along. So here I was with two little kids.
Yeah.
I made the decision that, it was time for me to remove myself from that corporate world. But I was like, what am I going to do? I mean, yeah, I'm a mom, but I'm not stopping that growth trajectory for my career. So I said, well, you're going to have to figure this out. You're going to have to figure out how to do this. 9 months pregnant with my second, I took a position with an agency
Oh, wow.
to be a VP of client services, to head up an entire division and grow. So I worked for, I think, 5 weeks until baby number two came. And then I took a couple, probably, your typical 12 weeks off.
Yeah.
And then I came back, basically 2 babies in tow.
Yeah.
And did that for a number of years. But then I always say it's easy when they're little, when they're really, really little. It's when they get to a certain age that then, the school stuff starts and you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that?
Extracurricular activities.
And the mom taxi stuff.
Yeah.
starts.
Right, that's right.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
It's all
Yes.
coordination, and it's a lot of it.
So at that point, I'd had what I called client side and agency side. And I said, you know what? You can do this on your own. So I went off and I
Nice.
started my own thing.
Nice.
And for the better part of my kids growing up, a third one came along, my daughter. For the better part of that, for probably almost 9.5 years, I was a consultant. I consulted
Good
on
for
both
you.
the agency
Yeah.
side and
Yeah.
the client side.
Good.
For some people, I set up a marketing department.
Yeah.
For some people, I did some work for Hershey Foods. I was a liaison with their Mexico agency. I did some, I made it work.
Yeah,
I made
good.
it work because yes, how do you be mom and how do you be professional all at the same time? And it wasn't something I was willing to pick or choose.
Yeah.
It was how do I
Good.
make the two
Yeah,
of them
and
work
I
together.
think what's compelling about that is I didn't want to be home full time either. It was very important to Anne, and that's what Anne did. And only when her 3 boys, well, this is Anne's story, like,
Which is not a news story.
no, but it's equally compelling to me insofar as I just knew that to be totally fulfilled and totally happy, I needed to work, right? But through that, and it does change your life drastically. Just I never wasn't there for him.
Yeah.
Everything revolved around our son, right? And he has a phenomenal, incredible dad, right? Human, but just a great dad, And so it just becomes not judgmental in any way, shape, or form. And God love who hired you that pregnant, right? Knowing, and they would have never had to
Absolutely.
say it, but like there's value in that. And I say to people, because people don't get their kids often on the bus, it doesn't make their brain any less valuable.
Agree.
We have such a huge, crazy, great workforce because we let them be moms first and provide flexibility. So I think, Ian, that blueprint that you have to know you have to be happy.
But the thing is, back when we were doing
Yeah.
that blueprint didn't exist.
Exactly.
Now it's there. I mean, it's almost a given now.
Yeah.
That didn't
No, it
exist.
didn't.
We had to create that for ourselves.
And you did it.
And you did it.
And you just did it, right? There wasn't all this hesitation or you don't know what will happen until the road rises up to meet the challenges.
I agree.
So,
And I love it when someone says, well, that's never been done before. I'm thinking, okay.
we're fans
So,
of that.
Try
yeah,
me.
I like it. Let's,
Yeah,
let us
yeah,
be the first ones
yeah,
then.
yeah,
We'll be
yeah.
doing it. But I love you made your own opportunities. It's kind of like finding your seat at the table. You don't wait to be asked. Honestly, you don't even raise your hand anymore if you aspire to higher level positions. So you saw in your own personal professional life what would be best for you to continue on a professional career, but still be accessible and be there, be at home in the morning, in the evening, so you start your own consultancy, and that's awesome. So for any of our young female listeners, this is the time, if someone says we've never done it that way, we don't have it in our handbook, we don't have a policy, then push for a different policy.
Absolutely.
Take it,
Absolutely.
fly that up your flagpole and say, this is really, good companies want to keep good people and good talent. So go back to your executive and say, what's the best way that I can stay here and really want to give 110%? And, you can have a tremendous cost savings by not going out and
Make your own
hiring
blueprint.
new people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I look at it as it shouldn't be the choice of the employer. It should be the choice of the employee.
Yeah.
It should be the choice of the individual that comes out and
Right.
says, this is my choice. I do want it to work. This is what I bring to the table. Here's how I think that I
Yeah.
can benefit you,
Yeah.
and work with them to create that
Right.
situation. And then, if it doesn't work, or if it just isn't a fit, then it probably wouldn't have been a fit long term anyway.
Right.
It's not a relationship.
Right,
It's
right.
not going to survive conflict. It's not going to survive
agree.
change. It's not going to survive life happening which is by definition imperfect.
Exactly.
And if we don't have a mutual relationship, and I love that about your self-worth, that you never for a second wavered on the value you had to contribute.
And I think with, using your vitamin analogies,
Yeah.
I have a staff of 6. Well, there's 6 of us in the department, myself included. They're all female, and they range in age from 26 up to 42. And they're all at different points in their life. I mean, I have one that literally just got married a year ago. I have one that has 3 kids. I have one that's not married. I mean, they're all in different places. So, but why should that be a reflection of the talent they bring to the table to benefit the organization?
Touche. I could not agree more.
Yeah, absolutely.
But all those different experiences and generations are a huge benefit to you marketing Planet Fitness.
Absolutely.
Because you could see right in your own little team, you've got this, focus group of potential
Segments.
customers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
Planet
love that.
Fitness is, I mean, obviously as a brand, I mean, everyone, Planet Fitness, judgment-free zone.
I was just gonna say.
We are.
We're all about the
We're all
judgment-free.
about the judgment-free. So we do have to look at, what is the perfect scenario for everyone, whether it be, we focus on 3 things at National Fitness Partners. We serve our team members, our internal team members first. We serve our members, the members of our club. And as of December, we will have 1 million members that we serve.
Wow.
So when you stop to think, we have 1 million lives that we're affecting.
Yeah.
Just in our clubs, let alone, the brand is, I believe, above 18 million right now, but 1 million of those are in our clubs.
So
and
these
then,
are the Planet Fitness members.
correct.
Wow.
And then serve our communities.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you do it, shout out. You do a great job at that.
we make it a priority.
Yeah.
We don't want to just be, it's really easy to be the big box gym that comes into a market and just, come in and pay your $10.
Yeah.
We really work hard to make sure we're contributing back to our communities. We strive in every one of our markets to identify, key groups that we want to be a part of.
Good.
In Pennsylvania, probably one of our largest is, we work really, really closely with Penn State and Thon. So
that's
that's a very
Awesome.
important, tent pole for us.
That's awesome.
We had a very young girl on the podcast that ran Thon.
Oh yeah, she was executive director. So
And I'm like, oh my.
getting to
When did
that
you go to
position
class,
as
right?
a college student, I mean, it really was more responsibility than a lot of CEOs have. What she was in charge of, and just the entire infrastructure.
Well, they start when they're in high school.
Yeah.
That's
Competing for
Yeah.
positions to be chairs of different
Yeah.
departments, and then they go up through the ranks all the way through. So, I mean, it is not for the shy and the weary, because
It's an incredible machine. Kudos to you guys
And
Planet
mission.
Fitness. Yeah.
But our intern, who we tried to hire, and she was going to go off into the great yonder, and then her mom got ill and she stayed home with her, and now she's growing a career, just got promoted again, way high up in the Thon structure. Her organization, her communication,
Yeah.
her inclusion, it's extraordinary. Not to mention she's a superior human being. She's kind, she's smart, and I couldn't say enough about the credit she gives to Thon and to Penn
well,
State.
my guess is that probably coming out of college at 22, her skill sets
Yeah.
are probably
Tremendous.
well beyond
Tremendous.
many, seasoned professionals who've been out there for
Because
quite
they're
some
working
time.
with the business community too.
Absolutely.
Anyone in that organization. So, by partnering with them, you actually get an inside view of all those, young people who are potential leaders in organizations too. So that's
And guess what? They're the first people when those resumes come across
Totally.
our desk.
I'm the same with Ship. They're
totally.
they're right, and they're swipe right, if that's the right way to go. I
Yeah.
don't know that stuff, but that's my point. Yeah. I absolutely give them preference.
Absolutely.
Ship hip hooray.
Yeah. I always the things that stand out to me are, people like Thon, or people who have been like on their, leadership committees for whether it's their fraternity sororities or student athletes, because you stop
Yep.
and you think, what have they had to manage
Right.
inside of their college
Oh, yeah.
career? So yeah,
They performed
set
when they didn't
goals,
feel
yeah.
well. They performed when they didn't feel like it. Right? It's
because
just
guess what? There will be days like that.
oh my.
A lot.
And there were as athletes. And when
Yeah.
you boil it down to those sort of same principles throughout life, it's huge discipline.
Discipline is huge.
It's absolutely huge.
Well, and we've had Janet Donovan, CEO of the Girl Scouts. So I'll throw in there, if you come and you have Eagle Scout or Gold Award on your resume.
Absolutely.
We generally love those young people who say they can set a goal in 11th grade and, bring a community along with them.
we love our Eagle Scouts.
Eagle Scouts are.
Yes, we
We're
do.
very
They're-
partial
they're,
to our Eagle
do.
Scouts.
Their projects amaze me. Amaze me. So,
People don't know what goes into that, to Anne's point, from a very early age.
Yeah.
So tell us, Christine, what's the health and fitness world look like? So your goals as Planet Fitness, and health is one of the most Googled things in relation to business women.
Correct.
I did a little research on that. And certainly we want preventive. So an investment in Planet Fitness, and even at $10 or whatever is their black card. I know there's different levels of that. But you have to look at it as, not only is it's a win-win-win. It's good for you. It's good on your, family wallet, but it's also preventive medicine.
I think the thing that I've been with National Fitness Partners, Planet Fitness, for 5 years now. So I rode the train through
COVID, yes.
And obviously gyms, fitness centers were one of the hardest hit.
Yeah.
We were the first to be closed down.
Yeah.
We were the last to be open.
Right.
Luckily, knock on wood, I can say that, our business, Planet Fitness as a whole, did not close a single club after COVID was over with. We didn't have to close a single club. National Fitness Partners, we kept our employees through the pandemic,
Wow, that's
even
great.
though we
That's
weren't
great.
open.
Yeah.
But it has changed the landscape in terms of, fitness in general. It used to be fitness was about, what do I weigh? And how big are my muscles?
Yeah.
And can I run a marathon? And you think of it like those were like, now it's so much beyond that. It is so much beyond that. It's, what is the impact of movement in general have on not just my body, but my mind?
Yeah.
And I
Good
think
point.
that
Good point.
we don't take into consideration the mental aspects of fitness enough.
Yeah.
We obviously post-COVID, we know that the people who are more active, who stay ahead of it, are better served should they be faced with any illness, let alone what we faced with COVID. So from the physical side of things, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But from the mental side,
Good point.
the one thing we know is people who participate in 30 minutes a day of some sort of movement. And it doesn't
Could be
have to be
walking.
hardcore. It doesn't have to be out there doing, CrossFit or crazy HIIT classes.
Right.
Just move. Their endorphin levels, their serotonin levels go up. They're better at work.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they're better at home.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's something that you can't ignore. Now, I think that it's easy because, we're all wearing iWatches or Fitbits, and we get that notice every so many minutes that says time to stand. and that's the reality of it, because our jobs require us to be sitting. And, in our generation, it was the anti-smoking movement.
Yeah.
This generation, it's the anti-sitting movement.
That's a good
We
point.
have to get all generations up and moving. So whether you're a 13-year-old kid who probably doesn't have as many PE classes, if any, because PE was one of the first things that school districts kind of push by the wayside, all the way up till you can't go anymore, you should be moving. So whether it's our high school summer pass program, we just came out of that, where Planet Fitness opens its doors from Memorial Day to Labor Day every year for kids 13 to 19. It's free. They don't
Wow.
have to pay for the summer.
Oh, wow.
They can
That's a
come
great
in and work
idea.
out. We introduce them
Yeah.
to the concept of fitness because in
Yeah.
some cases, like I said, they don't have that.
If they're not on an athletic team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If they don't have a sport that they have to report for or work out with,
And we all need to belong. And I
Right.
think there's that implied
there is.
connection.
Yeah.
And I mean, my parents are in their 80s. And my mom, where she lives 3 times a week, she does weights and,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
her
good for
instructors
her.
and I'm telling and I all my elderly relatives, and God bless me, I have a lot of them, is just like, please move, and it's there's zero downside.
No.
And to be able to understand, you sleep better. You don't have mood swings. You're not as grumpy.
Well,
you
and for
eat
women,
more disciplined.
Yeah.
especially
Yes.
women as we get older, it is key. I mean, one of the things that I think you're going to start to see so much more of, and I think I can say this in the confines of this group of women here, when you're at that kind of pre-menopausal age, it becomes even more important.
Yeah.
And again, not just for your physical self, for your mental self, because if you don't get good sleep,
Yeah.
if you're not moving, those things are going to very quickly break down
Right,
because,
right.
your hormone levels aren't supporting you
Yeah.
the way they used to. So you need something to kick in. And that's one thing that we preach at Planet Fitness. You don't have to come in and, immediately go over to the weights and start lifting
Yeah.
up heavy weights or, you don't have to get on a treadmill and run a marathon. Come in and do something.
Yeah.
And if you need help, we have trainers there to help you.
Yeah, good.
So that's, we look at it, we in our mission at National Fitness Partners focus on transforming the lives of those we serve. And that might be
Oh, that's
something
awesome.
as simple as just being there for someone. We have a lot of older people that come into our clubs that are lonely and we're their social aspect.
Yeah.
So there's so much to fitness well beyond what we kind of label it as. So I think that's for us one of the things that we stand behind as our mission is it's one thing to say we're a gym. We're not a gym. We're a lifestyle place. We're a social outlet. We're a family. We're there to support, whether you've had a good day or a bad
Yeah.
day. You just need to get out there and move.
Mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely.
And I think women are the first to short shrift and take care of everyone else. And that's not,
We put ourselves on the back burner.
that's exactly right.
We do.
And long term, that's not sustainable for the quality of life we, as well as everyone else,
Right.
absolutely deserve. But women will say they'll qualify. Well, I don't want to sound like, well, no, go do that, right? Make sure you do that. And
I think it's on us too as
Yeah,
business women.
totally.
I mean, I think about I said I have 5 women that work for me. If you need to make time in your day to do those things, and we need to allow that
And
because
support it.
and support
yes.
it. And I think that, women and men alike, we actually, in our corporate office at National Fitness Partners, we have our own gym in the office. And it's funny because it's easy for the guys. They can come in with their gym bag. They can come get a workout.
I have to
in.
bring my hair dryer.
Right. They can jump in the
Yeah.
shower
Yeah.
or whatever.
Completely different.
For us,
It is.
it's completely
It
different.
is.
I mean, yes, we could, but we'd literally, we'd have no makeup on, our
Right.
hair wouldn't be done or whatever. And then we'd get on a Zoom call and people would be like, what's wrong with you?
And the position I'm in, it does matter.
It does.
Yes,
It
it does.
absolutely
It does.
100%
It does.
matters. And so early morning, thank goodness, I walk the sun up. I have 3 big dogs who cherish that. And it's completely different if the walk is shorter than an hour or if I have to shape shift it somewhere else. It's entirely different.
But you've made that commitment, though.
Right.
100%. And
Right.
then throughout the
And it
day,
starts with
it's-
that
that's
commitment.
exactly right. It was like, oh, I have a goal for everything. I'm not sure how I would stretch things, right? Because you have to get out of your comfort zone, and that's a stretch goal. And it matters. And I'm trying to do everything I can possibly do to make my son's wife. And when I say, meet your kids, he goes, Mom, you're going to do a lot more than meet them. You're going to interact. I'm like, okay, well, calm down. We don't have to do that anytime soon. But I think there's always a greater good, but the biggest good is to myself, right? And a quality of life. And when we share that as business people, why should that be any less of a priority than our business goals?
I agree.
It shouldn't and can't be.
Well, I think there's the point, Christine. You said we're going to pull out another business vitamin. We do things that we care about. So you have to, if someone says, I don't have any time for exercise or fitness, you didn't prioritize it. Because if think about what if your biggest hobby, so-and-so was coming in for a concert, you'd move heaven and earth and we'd be there.
Absolutely.
Like Ben Gallagher.
Yes, that too. Yes, or Jillian Smith. Yes, both. So I think as women, we've got to shift the priorities. Fitness, not only for our age, I'll say Annie's in my age, but even the 26-year-old in your office, make that a priority. We've had several podcast guests that are very passionate. Libby Delana, who wrote an entire book called Do Walk.
Yeah.
Every single day for 10 years. Not missing a day, she has gotten up in the morning and walked. And this is like 8 miles.
And then does like cold plunges.
Yeah, she does ice plunges. We just had Marcy Mowry, who was president of Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation, talking about, as you said, the mental health aspects of being outside, walking, movement. And just with every time I see a Planet Fitness logo, you just think I have to move. That's good for me. It should be an immediate connection. We need to invest in our own physical well-being, and that starts with making the best choices we can make.
And we do vote with our time.
Yeah, we do.
And Ann calls it a non-renewable resource. We all have the precisely same amount of it.
Exactly.
And you have to vote with your time, because where your priorities lie is where that. If I say I don't see my mom enough, I don't have the time, well, clearly then she's not a priority.
Well, yeah.
And it couldn't be further from that. Like, I make that a priority. I make my dad a priority, right? And so I think you're saying that, but it's one thing to say it, it's another thing Planet Fitness lives it.
Well, and I think the other thing is it doesn't have to. People think, oh, well, it's a huge commitment. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need
30
to
minutes
be.
a day.
30
Come
minutes.
on.
And like I said, and maybe it isn't, maybe not every day you can get in and do that 30 minutes sequentially. But you could break it up into 3 10-minute increments throughout the day. Get up, move around, do some stretches. Even we joke in my kitchen, like there's times where you'll walk in the kitchen and you'll see putting away the dishwasher.
Right.
Use that to do,
right.
Lunges when you're putting
squats or anywhere. Just
absolutely.
Come on, go get it.
Just
you do 10 or 15 of those in the morning.
Next time you're in a building, you take the stairs. Don't
Park
take the elevator.
in the farthest away parking spot. The little things, because they really do add up.
You still have 23 and a half hours, for goodness sakes, in a day. That's plenty of time. So just like that, Ann Gallagher.
Wait.
Okay.
We're going to end the exclamation point, which I don't know if Annie knows. So Christine and I share, we are in that hashtag Moms of Artists group.
I do not know this.
Yes.
This is the beauty of
So Christine, it's both of our youngest children, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So her daughter, Jillian, is a country artist as well as Benj is. And we have had prior conversations about their trajectory. Jillian's younger than Benj. So, update us on
Jillian. She's had a wild year, actually. She of course she started when she was in high school. Yeah. Started playing out, was that young kid that she'd always sung, but it was it didn't start till she was in high school. But over the past year, she's been very blessed. She's had a couple songs come out. She was on a radio tour. She had some really great opportunities. She opened for Brooks and Dunn. So if you're,
awesome.
So she's had some great opening opportunities. Most recently, she was actually a contestant on The Voice this year.
Yes,
so,
that's huge. That's huge.
So yeah, she's living the dream.
Yeah.
She really is
living her best life.
Yeah, she's not quite 21.
That's awesome.
So, she's trying to figure out, and I know that, Ben probably went through this. This is what she wants to be doing, but it doesn't make a lot of money when you're an up-and-coming artist. So she also has a full-time job.
Yeah.
So she's doing 2 full-time jobs at just shy of 21. She's traveling all over the country. I mean, she was in LA for 5 weeks on her radio tour.
Yeah.
She was in 16 states in like 3 months.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
doing all this on her own.
Now, did she go to college for music, right?
She did not. She
Oh.
did not. She actually started out, we pushed her, as every parent does. You're going to do, you're going to do the high
She
school
was
thing.
considering Belmont
Yes,
at the time.
she did consider Belmont. She started out in school, but she was already pretty much as a freshman in college.
Yeah.
Well, kind of on her way and doing a lot of
Yeah.
performing. So when she went away to school, she was ending up spending more of her time on the road.
Yeah.
And she finally came to us and said, I can't do
Yeah.
all this.
Yeah.
I can't do it all. And respectfully, we were like, that's
good.
fine. You
Good.
only have a window that's
Yes.
so big in
Yes.
this business.
Yes.
And we want her to pursue that. But we were like, okay, there's gives and takes with that. So
Right.
she made the decision to leave school, but then she immediately, with the credits that she already had, she went and got her medical esthetician license.
Oh, good.
So she did so with the thought, when I'm in town, I can open up my book and I can schedule
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
When I'm not in town, I close it and then I go do my
Yeah.
music thing. So she travels back and forth
Yeah.
to Nashville about once every 6 weeks. She's
Good for
back
her.
and forth. She's on the road. Her latest single just came out October 6th. She has another one coming out in December. And she and Ben have been lucky enough to play a couple shows
Yeah.
where
Just
just
recently.
recently they did
How
Fall
cool.
Fest in Lancaster.
Cool.
So she was the opening act and
Yeah.
he was right after. It was funny. Monica, Ben's wife, and I were, manning the
merch
tables and, doing all that. So, kind of at that role,
Yes.
Monica is sheer delight.
Yes.
She is such
We
a
were cold that
special,
day.
special
That was a
soul.
cold day.
It was cold.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
remember Anne said to Benj if it didn't work out or whatever, and there was no plan B. And my son is the precise same way. Your daughter's, I love that. No plan B.
I asked her, I was like, so what happens if this doesn't work out? And she's like, Mom, that's not an option.
No.
It
No.
wasn't for him. It wasn't for,
No.
yeah, all power. So congratulations
No,
and
thank you.
good for you.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
kind of great to have
Awesome.
2, Central
Delightful.
PA
Yeah,
kids, really,
yeah.
and they're, obviously Ben's new song "Stomp." I love that song. I love
He
that
gets
song.
you moving.
He does. He does.
I think our house has personally been responsible for about 1 million of those streams.
Yeah, he's in my library. I just love when that
Yep.
comes up. Just makes me smile. So, Christine, you've been delightful.
Yeah.
Thank
See
you
how
for
fast
having
it
me.
goes,
I
right?
can't believe I just looked over there.
It's
That's
been
know.
0 for a while. Don't
Yeah.
even worry about
Yeah.
it. We're
No, I
this
love it.
This is
I
our
truly
show.
appreciate
But
it.
Yeah.
3 high gear women, so we're in charge.
Yes.
So we can
Most
make our
definitely.
episode as long as we
Yeah.
wish it to be.
That's exactly right.
Okay. And
No,
you
but
finish
it
up
is
with,
women like you that I appreciate the fact that, because it is sometimes we really have to take the time to call ourselves out. And,
No, we
and I
do.
appreciate
Oh,
it.
we
do.
do that.
Yeah.
We do that. Yep. And we
good
own
at
it. And we own it. I mean, I still fail more in a day than
That's all right.
that. Absolutely.
That's all right.
It's essential.
Yes.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with failing. Failing
Fail
is how
forward.
you grow. Yes.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
So
Touche.
where can we find Planet Fitness online, Christine? What's easiest way?
PlanetFitness.com. It's the easiest thing to do. Now,
On
depending
all
on
socials?
all social, everything. And depending on where you personally are located, all you do is go in. There's a club finder, and
Okay.
literally you put your zip code in. It'll tell you your closest club, how far away it is. And, Planet Fitness, we always have really good deals going. Just today, where you can join for $1 down, $10 a month. Or if you want to be a Black Card member, which gets you use of every club in the country, and you can bring a friend, that's $24.99 a month. Just go online and
What a
we'll
good
hook you up
investment.
and make sure
Rob's
you
is
find.
less than 1 mile.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
hooked him up,
good.
He found less
There
than
you
a
go.
mile.
There you
Good.
go.
Christine, thank you so much for joining us. Annie Carnathan, we are smarter and I think on our way to better health after our conversation with Christine.
Always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Have a high gear day. Thanks for listening. It's our desire that these stories will bring energy, ideas, and fresh thinking that you can use today. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram, and have a high gear day.